Good evening. I'm excited to welcome you to this evening's concert brought to you by the Idaho State Civic Symphony. I'm Jordan Herget, President and CEO of Portneuf Medical Center. As an advocate for the arts in our communities, Portneuf is proud to once again be the season sponsor of the Symphony. Together we advocate and look to a future filled with music and the arts. Enjoy the concert.
Welcome to tonight's virtual concert with the Idaho State Civic Symphony. I'm Julie Sorensen, the Artistic Director and Conductor for the ISCS, and I invite you to sit back and enjoy tonight's performance. Good evening, and welcome to our first concert of the new year. Tonight, we revisit the music from the Romantic era, which is typically defined as music composed from 1820 to 1900. Composers of this time sought to create music that was deeply emotional, dramatic, and even personal. Music during this time often reflected the art, literature, and philosophies of the day. It is through the Romantic era that we hear the expansion of the chromatic harmonies and see the growth of the orchestra to include more wind and brass and percussion to the ever-growing string sections. Familiar composers of the time include Chopin, Schumann, Berlioz, Dvorak, Brahms, Wagner, and many more. Our concert begins with another familiar favorite of the Romantic era. Felix Mendelssohn composed his Symphonia No. 3 in E minor in 1821 at the age of 12. This work, along with most of the other 13 symphonias or string symphonies that he composed, contains 3 movements. The opening, Allegro di molto, though fast, is serious and contrapuntal. Imitation pervades the development section before the opening music returns. Mendelssohn's second movement is in a major key, with delightfully lyrical themes and skillful orchestration. The finale is a dark allegro that returns to a minor key. The energy never dissipates, and the symphony ends with a final statement of the finale theme. We hope you enjoy tonight's performance of Felix Mendelssohn's Symphonia No. 3 in E minor. Tonight, we get to interview Bill Stanton and Kay Kewen and John Young, who are our backstage people who make all of the magic happen and are able to bring these wonderful concerts to you via the virtual concert hall. So with me tonight, I have Bill Stanton, who is the production and theater operations manager for the Stevens Performing Arts Center. Bill, thank you very much for joining us tonight. And can you tell me a little bit about where we are and what all of this wonderful equipment does for us at the Idaho State Civic Symphony?
Well, this is the control room of Jensen Hall. And what I have in front of me right now is the recording system. This is for audio recording. We use a Pro Tools system, and we can record up to 64 channels on it tonight for the symphony because we're trying to do a very classical style of recording. We're using 4 mics, 2 that are recording primarily the stage and 2 that are recording the hall itself, so you get the sound of the concert hall. And so I record here, and afterwards I send it over to Kayleen, who's working on the video.
Wonderful, thank you so much. And Kayleen, so now that we've had the sound introduction, this moves over to you for video editing. Is that what this computer does, or does this do something else?
It does a little bit of both. So the first computer that you're going to see, it gets all of the camera feeds from the auditorium. As you can tell, there are several different ones. We can have a wide shot of the stage. We have side views, as well as one that faces the conductor during the symphony. So we can choose what we want to see and give the audience a variety of shots. After we get the cameras, they come over here to what is the recording system. And this is where we combine both audio and video. And this will just record to this computer so that we can upload it for later and the audience can be able to review it. Then if we come over here to Bill.
So then after this process, then we move to another computer. This gets quite complicated, doesn't it?
So for typical symphony shows, we will actually stream from this computer. We used it tonight just to do a backup recording in case the primary recording failed. So we have a backup recording on here, but tomorrow, or when we actually get the final symphony recording done, we will stream it out from here. But typically for most shows, we actually use this to stream while we're recording and switching on the other 2 computers.
So once this whole process is done, then it needs to be rendered, is that correct?
Edited and rendered.
Edited and rendered.
Yep.
And that's really where our cameraman comes into play, John Young. So for just a quick moment, we're going to have John come in front of the camera, and we're going to ask him some questions for the night.
And we're just going to roll right through this. So I guess I can listen to myself.
That's right. You can hear yourself speak. So, there we go. Okay. So, John, after all of this has gone through the sound and through the video editing and through all of this secondary editing, we get to have you come in and you do these wonderful shots for us with the videos and for the interviews. And so, but we also kind of land everything in your lap after it's all recorded. And I send you a sheet of what everything needs to be and where it needs to be and when. And so can you tell me about your process then after we send you all the material and what that looks like in order to be able to get that out for our audience?
So that's right. I guess I'm the final repository. Everything that's created here needs to be put together into a finished form. And so we use Dropbox. Bill will upload the files to a server that I can download from, so we don't have to run around campus. We can do this virtually. And then I'll spend 6-8 hours putting all the material together into a finished program that hopefully plays flawlessly from start to finish. Julie, you give me a wonderful table of contents. So every slide, every super, every interview excerpt, and the chunks of the symphony performance themselves are all detailed for me meticulously by Julie so that I have a roadmap to follow in post. And my job is to put all those pieces in the right order and then make sure that all the transitions are smooth, the audio levels are consistent, the color correction is well balanced. And I must say that work you guys do comes to me in excellent form. I have to do very little corrective work, just a little bit of fine tuning and smoothing everything out. And then we have the fun part, rendering, right? We're always day of, Ron is texting me hourly, are we close, are we close? And what we're doing is waiting for the computers to write the final file, and it takes 2, 3, 4 hours from the time we're all done and say, give us a file. The computers have to process all that footage. And so it's white knuckle time while we wait for the render to complete.
That's right. And it can get a little bit white knuckly, but we have always been able to come through thanks to your work and your diligence in that, and for Bill's work and for Kay's work. Thank you, all three of you, for your work and assistance in this. And thank you for the backstage look at what it takes to put on a concert for this wonderful year. Thank you very much.
Our pleasure.
Thanks.
Our second and final piece of the evening is the beloved Serenade for Strings by Peter Tchaikovsky. Composed in 1880, this late Romantic era piece was originally intended to be a full symphony. Tchaikovsky himself adored the piece. Set in 4 movements, the Serenade is one of Tchaikovsky's happier works. Though the start of the first movement begins with a serious and dramatic introduction, it soon gives way to a more energetic and allegro moderato. The second movement is a Viennese waltz, one of the composer's most popular movements. It is infectious in its captivating dance-like rhythms and singable melody. Though the Serenade for Strings is overall a cheery and happy piece, the elegy of the third movement gives a glimpse into the melancholy of Tchaikovsky's troubled psyche with its slower tempo and lush phrasing. The finale returns the piece to a more joyful sound by actually using folk material to give it a brusque and energetic flavor. Once again, we hear a serious introduction that gives way to festive music that continues to build until it is, in the last, interrupted with the restatement of the theme from the dramatic introduction of the first movement. This imposing, almost threatening interruption ends just as quickly as it began, with the brisk coda as it speeds to the movement to a brilliant close. Please enjoy the Idaho State Civic Symphony's performance of Tchaikovsky's Serenade for Strings. Thank you for joining us for this evening's performance. I'm Julie Sorensen, and on behalf of the Idaho State Civic Symphony, we look forward to seeing you at our next concert. Thank you.